So as you may or may not know, I do a radio show over at the local community college called GameBabble Live. And though you can listen to it on the internet through a variety of different apps, it does air, like, actually on the radio. I'm sure getting up around noonish and actually tuning into my show when it's on the air is a bit of a pain in the butt to a lot of people. Well, good news! I finally have the GameBabble Live archive up and running. Just check the link in the description, or on the GameBabble Live YouTube page, check the sidebar and you'll see it listed as a linked channel. Or just search YouTube for GameBabble Live Archive, because I uploaded 60 freaking episodes, and at least one of them should show up in your search results. And once you do, you will have access to over 60 episodes of me just rambling about games for around an hour and a half at a time. Now, if listening to them on YouTube isn't your jam, good news, in the description of each video is a link to a Google Drive that has the raw MP3 files. So if you'd like to download and listen to them that way, you can. Now, fair warning. Pretty much all of the older episodes were kind of uploaded in a sort of quick and dirty way. So the audio quality might not be as good. There may be some hiccups and glitches. If you run into anything, just leave a comment and I will see if I can fix them, because I still have the raw files. And, well, to be blunt, I didn't listen to every single episode before putting them up. That would be insanity, because I was desperately trying to rush these up to act as a sort of sample of my work, a portfolio for getting actual jobs in radio, and I was applying like right now. The thing is, sometimes the station screws up. In fact, in the most recent episode of GameBabble Live, when I was checking the audio files, for absolutely no readily apparent reason, the audio cut out in the middle of me ranting about Dead or Alive 6. I didn't do anything, it wasn't the top of the hour, there was literally no reason for the audio to cut out, but the audio cut out. All the technicians looked into it, they couldn't figure anything out. I just did not have a recording of the rest of that rant. Not on me anyway. Thankfully, the station kept a very low quality backup recording, and I was able to splice that in there, and I might be able to do that for other episodes that have lost a chunk of audio, but I don't know how many other episodes lost a chunk of audio. Also, more than likely, the Mo Gamescon episode probably doesn't have my interviews in it, and I don't remember which episode that was. So again, just let me know, and I will see what I can do about fixing any glitched episodes, but listening to well over 60 hours of me talking about video games isn't something I'm going to do personally. But all the episodes are up, and if there's any, even if you don't want to listen to what the hottest gaming news was for July of last year, we did recently get the newest episode uploaded, and I'd like to make this a habit of getting the newest episodes of GameBabble Live up and on the archive within a day or two of me actually doing the show. I'm hoping to make that a habit, and the newer episodes actually are more properly produced and have more polished audio, so they should be good, should be much better listening, but either way, the episodes are finally up. Which, of course, now that I've explained all this, you're probably asking the question, why in the heck did this take so long? Well, of course, it's time for story time, because it's never easy, now is it? So, before I even started GameBabble Live, when I was doing the Metables, someone said, hey, you should upload these as a podcast so I can listen to them on the go. And I was like, that's a really good idea. And it was there that I discovered the one thing no one on the internet seems to know: there is no free place to upload just audio. And I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, well, what about SoundCloud? SoundCloud only lets you upload 180 minutes for free. And that's about the length of one episode. Maybe two. So, that's about useless. So, yeah, you can't really use SoundCloud. There's no real other place to just upload audio files. And a lot of people don't believe this. They're like, what do you mean there's no place to upload a podcast for free? There's no place to upload a podcast for free. If anyone knows a place, let me know, but it doesn't exist. I've looked. So I've looked around, and all the podcast places cost a certain amount of money to upload to. And considering this show, nothing I do with GameBabble makes any sort of money. I tried to monetize once back when Blip.tv was a thing, and I made about 25 cents, which I never received anyway, because it wasn't a big enough amount of money to actually send out. So, I've never really made money off of GameBabble. This is very much just a thing I do as a hobby, so I don't have the money to pay for hosting of my show. So, that was out of the question. And so I mentioned this to the station, and they were like, oh, hey, we just heard from our higher-ups that we're going to get a new server, and it's going to have a bunch of space, and we're going to get things set up so that way it can automatically record your show and instantly upload it to this server, and people can download it there. And I'm like, great, that's fantastic. So I sit there, and we're waiting for this to get set up, waiting for this to get set up. It takes like nearly a year. Because, of course, the people at the station have to talk to their higher-ups, who have to talk to their higher-ups, who have to talk to their higher-ups. And by the time it was all said and done, they got about, like, 5 gigs of space, and it wasn't that special. So, it was useless. But then, I mentioned that, I'm trying to find a place to upload these episodes, and, every single time I mention that, some other person will say, oh, I've got an idea, I'll get back to you. And then they either don't get back to me, or they go, yeah, no, I couldn't find anything. And that goes on for a while, and by this point, I have, like, 40, 50 episodes of GameBabble Live, and again, I was really adamant about not just uploading them to YouTube. Now, you're going to say, well, what about Google Drive, since that's what you're using right now? Well, I had some issues with Google Drive, because I was like, I have never used Google Drive before. But I went and checked my Google Drive and found 5 items already in there, including a text file of a somewhat politically incorrect joke that would probably offend people, and a mildly lewd image of a bunny girl. So, yeah. Considering those were in my Google Drive without me ever using my Google Drive, that's a problem. I don't exactly want a file hosting service that will just randomly download the things I'm looking at. Because yes, those were files I looked at in other people's Google Drives. And I think when I chose to download them to my hard drive, it decided to also download them to my Google Drive. Or something. And I'm like, yeah, no, that is completely out of the question. I am not dealing with a service that will just randomly take files I'm looking at and put them on there. Because, I mean, we all look at some interesting files on the internet, and some of those interesting files would be really nice if other people wouldn't look at them. So, that's out of the question. And so that was why I wasn't using Google Drive. But recently, I was trying to apply for, a position in radio, and I was like, I really need to get these episodes up. Screw it, we'll just put them on YouTube. Let's get this done. But by this point, I have over 60 freaking episodes. And the way the episodes are recorded, they're not just one big chunk. The way it works is, every time I turn on the microphone at the studio, it starts recording, and when I turn it off, it stops recording. This is very convenient, because it means that all of the copyrighted audio, that doesn't show up in my files. That's good. But in the bad news, it means that it's not just a solid MP3 file. It's a pile of like 5, 6, 7 MP3 files I have to string together. Well, that's not a big problem. Load it up, get it all set up in Adobe Premiere, plop the audio files down in the proper order, and that winds up taking a weirdly long amount of time for it to process and get the files in there, and for it to all eat. It takes like over an hour to produce an episode, and then I realized that there were audio problems that I had to fix, and I was like, well, this is an issue. So, I put that on the back burner for a little bit, got back to it later, like a few months later, after producing one episode and it wound up being a mess. I tried to put together an episode in Audacity. It's like Audacity's a proper audio editing program. This will be fine. Actually, no. Just stringing the just stringing all the sound files together properly took me an hour and a half. I pulled it off, but it took an hour and a half, and I was like, you know I could do this faster in Adobe Audition, which is what the school has, it's what I learned on. It's a good program. It's a program I would love to buy. Unfortunately, Adobe doesn't sell Adobe Audition. See, what you gotta do is you have to buy a subscription to the Adobe Creative Cloud, and then that will let you actually have access to Adobe Audition for a limited time. I'm like, screw you, let me pay you like $200 and get access to Adobe Audition. Quit messing around with me. But no, that's not how things work. No, apparently the creative tools we need to produce our content, oh, that's a live service now. Everything's live services. It's not just video games anymore, everyone. So I'm like, this is BS, whatever. So I go down to the school, and I'm like, I'm going to put these together in Adobe Audition. And sure enough, what takes me an hour and a half to do in Audacity, I can do in like 10, 15 minutes in Adobe Audition. Unfortunately, for some reason, I couldn't get the noise filtering working on Adobe Audition anymore. I don't know why, so I have to take those episodes home and noise filter them by hand. What I eventually found, though, while trying to edit these episodes together is, wait a second, I can just literally select all the files, drag and drop them into Adobe Audition, and it automatically puts them together. Okay, I don't have the video game jingle breaks, that's one thing, but I've got 60 freaking episodes that I need to turn into audio files. So I'm like, you know what, screw it. People are, these are more for archival purposes than they are for actual listening. Again, who's gonna listen to the hottest video game news of last July? So I just want to show that I've been doing the show for a year and a half, and honestly, the noise isn't that bad. So I do that, and I get all the files up, and it only takes like a couple hours to get all 60 files processed. This is freaking fantastic. So I bring him home, and I'm like, alright, so now all I have to do is take this single audio file, drop it into Adobe Premiere, give it the image, and upload it. Unfortunately, that winds up having issues too. Aside from a couple times where even though I tried to change the title image, it didn't go. You'll notice a few of those. It took 15 minutes for, 15-20 minutes for Adobe Premiere to read the MP3 files I had made. And then it takes it like another 15 minutes to actually process the video. Actually, no, it takes another 10 minutes for it to even start processing, and then it takes 15 minutes for it to actually process, and I spent an entire day trying to use Adobe Premiere to put these videos together to put up on YouTube, right? I got 6 or 7 of them done, and then I went down and I listened to one of them, and it sounded like this.
2010 Real-Time World with you for listening. See the way. Thank you for listening. 2010 Real-Time World with 0.5 FM KCF of 89% music for your diverse mind. Now bring you back to the diverse us next week. I thank you for listening. Please, you've been GameBabble. Anyway, look forward to that or something.
Okay, so that's a problem. What happened there is that something went wrong when it was encoding the hour-and-a-half long MP3 file, which took like 15 minutes for it to do. And unfortunately, there's no easy solution to fixing this, because that screwed up MP3 file sticks in Premiere's memory. What you gotta do is you have to exit Premiere, which already takes a while to start up, go into its cache files, delete the cache file for that, relaunch Adobe Premiere, and get it to re-encode that file. There's no like easy re-encode button. So, you're sitting there, hoping that that'll work, and I'm like, oh, egad, if I have to do this for every single freaking episode, I have to make sure that Adobe Premiere didn't crap the bed. Oh, this ain't happening. So I'm like, there's got to be a better way. And I remembered, oh yeah, I always see, like, a bunch of audio files uploaded to YouTube with, like, MP3 tube as the background. Maybe I could use that. I look up MP3 tube anyway to use my own custom, thumbnail image? No, and it has a limit of 50 megabytes per MP3 file. Well, that's not going to do me any good. there's a site called Tunes to Tube that does let you use your own background image. And I'm like, well, this is great. So I set up the GameBabble Live Archive channel. I upload the videos I already have done. I try to use this. And it's like, oh, actually, we have a 50 megabyte limit too. But if you purchase a subscription, and I'm like, actually, no, before that, I was like, we have a 50 megabyte limit. You have a 50 megabyte limit if you just upload the MP3 file. But if you use Google Drive, if you upload it straight from Google Drives, then we have a 150 megabyte limit. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Pretty much all these episodes are around the 150 megabyte range. So I set up my channel, I get the videos uploading, I start uploading the MP3 files to Google Drive, they don't show up. Oh, turns out you have to buy a subscription. And I'm like, you know what, screw it, I only need to use this for 1 month, so here's $15, give me your big subscription, so that way I can use files off my Google Drive up to like 250 megabytes. And then from there, things went somewhat smoothly. Because all I had to do to upload to my Google Drive was just select all the MP3 files, drag and drop them on there, and they uploaded super fast. I've never seen things upload that fast. And then from there, I just, I load them up in Tunes to Tube, click them. I could even get them batch processing. The only problem was I wanted to upload all the files in chronological order. And Tunes to Tube actually has a button for this, to put a 1-minute delay on each before it encodes each episode. So that way they show up in the proper order. And for a while I'm messing with this. Sometimes an episode winds up out of order. But eventually I get to this point where I upload five videos at once, right? And like the second or third one, actually no, I upload 5 videos at once. I go through the painstaking trouble of making sure they all upload in the proper order. They show up in my YouTube dashboard in the proper order. However, they encoded in the wrong order. Like, the second or third one in that batch wound up being out of order, and so I would have to delete all those and re-upload all of those. And at that point, I was like, screw it, because now I'm just at the mercy of when YouTube decides to do this, and there's no way to change the order that these videos show up in, like, on your channel, because chronological order means chronological order. You can't control time, okay? Even though they show up in the proper order in my YouTube dashboard, they don't show up in the proper order on my channel. And the big suggestion was just make a freaking playlist. So I'm like, fine, here's a 2017 playlist, here's a 2018 playlist. Let's get all these uploaded, and oh egad, Tunes to Tube works friggin' fantastic. You know that whole process of combining an MP3 file with a still image that takes... I didn't even mention the fact that doing all of this stuff in Adobe Premiere also causes my computer to get very, very hot, so I have to give it breaks so it doesn't overheat and, well, break. So that was a big problem. It's like, okay, making one of these stupid episodes takes like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and is weirdly taxing on my computer. But with Tunes to Tube, like, I could do it in a couple minutes. According to the printout, it says it takes about 20 seconds to make the actual file and, like, 30 seconds to get it uploaded to YouTube. And I'm like, what the crap? This takes me, like... This takes, like, multiple hours to pull off any other way. So I'm like, fine, we've got a solution. I got all the files uploaded through this method, and what I found out when making my GameBabble Live archive account, because you're probably wondering, well, why are you so fine with the Google Drive now? Well, I found out that when making my GameBabble Live archive YouTube account, it gave me my own Google Drive. And I was like, dude, this is what if you're going to give me a unique Google Drive that will hopefully only do things when I access it, and people will hopefully only have access to the folders I tell them, then maybe this will all work out. Now, admittedly, I'm mildly disappointed, because Tunes to Tube had a button you could click to have it automatically link to the Google Drive MP3 file used in the video. And I clicked that, and it just plain didn't work. And I struggled with trying to get it to work. Just no dice, and I'm like, fine, I'll just make a folder for 2017 and a folder for 2018. I'll link it in the description. Unfortunately, I forgot to switch to the 2018 folder before uploading the 2018 files, so I had to manually go back and change a bunch of those. There's a few that aren't changed, but either way, we've got 2017, we've got 2018 folders up. They've got the MP3 files in them. I've got all 60 episodes up. Some of them might have hiccups and glitches. Let me know in the comments on those videos, and I will try to get them fixed. I definitely plan on remastering some of my better episodes when I figure out which episodes they are. Because we've got the Mo Gamescon episode, where I got to talk to Al Lowe, who's the creator of the Leisure Suit Larry series, and he's an amazingly awesome person. I got to interview him, and I don't know if the interview is actually in the episode. So, but I've got the interview file sitting around here. Somewhere around here, I should have the files from when I was on the radio station's morning show that they had me on because I was the one person defending the Nintendo Switch. So that'll be fun in retrospect. And at one point, they had me interview these concerned mothers about the fact that I live on a Superfund site, and there is toxic radiation all around me, and that's a big problem, and people are trying to downplay that. And I hear that's like a really, really good interview. Like, I know they uploaded the interview to their own thing, so that's another episode that I would definitely want to remaster if I ever figure out which freaking episode it is. Again, that's like skimming through all of these. I will probably make a playlist for, like, GameBabble Live's best episodes. I'm still disappointed that I lost episode 2, though, because I had a fantastic rant about the importance of international gaming. But I'll just do that as a medable one of these days. Anyway, so there you go. There's a full story of the struggle, because it's always a struggle, to get these stupid freaking episodes online for you to listen to. Now, once my Tunes to Tube subscription runs out, I won't mind spending an hour getting a MP3 file cleaned up and ready to go for all you guys every week. I don't think that'll be much of a problem. But, yeah, the problem was the fact that I had already done that I had over 60 episodes. And, like, the reason I didn't upload them earlier was because I wanted to get all the episodes uploaded, because I was concerned with uploading them in chronological order. Because it would be really annoying if, you're trying to watch the most recent episode of GameBabble Live, and, oh, wait, I'm uploading something from last July in the middle of this string of new episodes. And I'm like, you know what, no. And I didn't really think about the whole playlist thing. So I'm like, you know what, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. But there you go. There's the story. We have the episodes up. I hope you enjoy them. And yeah. Fingers crossed I get a job like doing actual radio, because people keep telling me I have a good voice for radio. They say I'm very natural on the radio, that I should get a job in it. And I'm like, okay, I'd like to get a job in radio. That sounds like fun. I'm having fun. So, in the off chance that a potential employer has actually listened to this audio file, video thing, please hire me. Thank you very much. Enjoy the episodes, and I need to get to work on, like, an actual GameBabble episode. I say that all the time. See ya!